Each year, approximately 1 in 10 Americans over the age of 60 reports experiencing some form of abuse, and that increasingly is including financial abuse. And tonight, as part of our monthly AARP-sponsored segment that highlights issues important to older adults in Arizona, we take a closer look at elder financial abuse. And joining us is Rachel Caballero of True West Credit Union. It's good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always good to be back.
Although it's, this is a tough thing to talk about. Elder abuse in general, it's increasing, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. Financial elder abuse, what's going on here?
Still increasing.
Yeah.
In 2023, there was 101,000 reports that made it to the FBI on elder financial abuse alone. And that's only the ones that made it there. That's only the ones that actually reported, which unfortunately not everybody does.
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a second here, but define financial abuse when you're talking about older folks.
Essentially with financial abuse, it's anybody that takes control of your finances in any aspect that doesn't have the business to be doing that. Unfortunately, it's happening a lot with our aging elders. 60-year-old age range is the most susceptible to have it happen. And in their 70s, that's actually the most likely to lose money. 2023, $36 billion of losses in investments and funds from people in the elder abuse category.
And that, again, is what's been reported. These things, why are they often not reported?
I think that people don't always necessarily know what the signs are, or they think that because it's, the elder is left in the care of a family member, that they're going to be protected. But actually, the majority of cases, 60% of cases, is done by a family member. 2/3 of that by their child or spouse.
Holy smoke. Okay, so you mentioned signs. What are the signs of financial elder abuse?
So there are multiple different signs. One of them is going to be a change in behavior for that person, a change in habits for that person. If they're writing more checks, if they're opening credit cards, if they're taking their documents and altering them in some way to add somebody onto the account. And a lot of times it can be a control thing where somebody all of a sudden has their caregiver with them 24/7 and they're always there to have those conversations with them. And it makes it very uncomfortable for the person that's having the abuse done against them to want to come out of that area because they don't feel safe.
Yeah. And so basically you're seeing different financial activity going on that doesn't necessarily make sense. That's the warning flag right there, isn't it?
That's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody in the family that very rarely writes checks, and when they do, it's for very specific things, you can go through their checkbook history. And a lot of times, especially when it's family members, they'll start very small. So they'll constantly go ask grandma for a few $100s because they're really needing it for rent. And then you see it get larger and larger and more frequent and more frequent. Even at the financial institutions, we have to be able to identify when that stuff is happening, be able to look through the accounts and see if there's any unusual behavior happening, any changes on the account happening, people being added to the account or deleted from the account. And we have to be able to recognize that and be able to step up and advocate for those elders that are having the abuse happen.
Some other financial, we have tech scams and investments, data breaches, that all falls under the umbrella, correct?
It does, absolutely.
Talk about those things.
Yeah, so as we know, technology is increasing. As technology increases, the scams increase. And people are getting desperate to pry on the vulnerable. With elder abuse, it happens that as people lose mobility and cognitive ability and also don't have the technology knowledge to be able to identify these things, people are preying on them. So it could be somebody calling saying, hey, I'm from Microsoft. I see that there's a virus in your computer. Let's sit down and go through it.
Yeah.
Or it could be somebody calling or sending an email. That's a huge one, sending an email saying, hey, I'm your investment advisor. They know the name of the person. They make it look like it comes from the person. And they say, we need to update your information. Click on this link. And unfortunately, they just don't have the knowledge to be able to know the signs to look for to make sure that's safe. But we always tell people, don't click on anything. Don't give any information. If you didn't sign up for a lottery, it's probably not happening. And just make sure that you go and consult somebody who can help you through that.
I noticed looking over these things, this is a rough one. Romance scams, they're out there too, aren't they?
They are, and they're increasing. I actually just dealt with a romance scam within the last year that drained somebody of their entire account.
Oh my goodness.
And unfortunately, because they pry on those feelings and they they make the person very vulnerable. They create these fake experiences, these fake feelings, and then they say, hey, I really want to come over, but I need the money to get my visa, and I need the money to be able to sell my house. And the population, especially with elders that are alone or don't have a lot of family or friends around, they really value those relationships. And so they put all their heart and soul into them, and they don't believe that something's happening. And a lot of the time we tell them, hey, we don't think this is real. And they still think it is because that feeling is there.
So with all of this, last question here, we talked about a lot of things that are going on out there, a lot of things to be aware of, but how best do you protect older folks?
Just make sure that they have the knowledge and the comfort to say, hey, if you feel like something's going wrong, if somebody's constantly coming for you, if you're having people do something, come and talk to us. One of the biggest things is don't sign something if you don't understand it.
Right.
Because a lot of times this fraud happens because they're given a document or something and it's, oh, this is from a lawyer, there's all this different stuff, don't worry about it, just sign it. They don't understand what they're signing, but they'll sign it anyways, and a lot of time that's a detriment to them.
And here's my real last question. What happens if you, as a caregiver, power of attorney, whatever, you spot something? What do you do? Where do you go?
Adult Protective Services, that is in Arizona. You can report all of your stuff to there. They will do a full investigation and then turn it over to the FBI. But in addition to that, you want to make sure that you go to the financial institutions that the person has or the financial planners that they have and make sure that everybody's aware so that we can all be in it together to help and protect these members.
Great information. Rachel Caballero, True West Credit Union. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.